Yo, what's going on, everybody? You're checking it out. It's the Highly Advised Podcast. This is episode 87. I'm here with a couple of my guys, Lau, Nigel. It's me, Spence, otherwise known as Saint Kitch. It's been a while since we've been back. You might have heard a couple things we've been doing since the last time you heard from us, but we're finally back for another year. It's 2022. Glad to be here. How you fellas doing, man?
Doing good, doing great. Let me move my mic up so you people can't see my face because I don't want y'all motherfuckers to see it. It's your boy Big Cozy, Too Cozy, aka the motherfucking bad guy, the only guy. I'm trying to become the do-rag king, so maybe I'll start wearing my do-rag every motherfucking Sunday or Saturday or Monday. Who knows, whenever we record. So what's up? Shouts out to everybody. Shouts out to the listeners. Welcome to episode 87. After me, there's no point of introducing the next guy. My bad. I fucked up, so now he got to introduce himself. But go ahead, Nigel.
Yo, what's going on? It's Relaxing OG_Jackson. I am back. It's a nice Sunday. I'm chilling and feeling comfy. You know what I mean? Back with the normal episodes for 2022.
Yeah, man. It's been a minute since we've been back. I mean, granted, we did drop a couple episodes. I think we definitely had a chance to do the interview with the girls from She's in New York, Jessie.
She's single.
Yeah, she's single. New York. Then we also had a chance to do those recaps from 2021.
Yeah.
In case you guys didn't check it out. So we gave you our top 10 of albums from last year, our personal top 10, not the mainstream. It has to be Lil Baby, in the words allow, the auto-tune kids. Yeah. It's not that bunch. So we dropped
Shouts
that.
Out to Lil Baby.
Shouts out to Lil Baby.
Shouts out to Baby, man. As well as we did drop the MMA list. So if you guys haven't listened to us, or you need to get a little catch up, if you want to know what we did in between, you can listen to that. But outside of that, how's things been since the last time we've talked to the guys, to the audience, since 86?
Things have been good, man. You know, listening to music, just chilling out, getting healthy, you know, waiting for the spring to come. It seems like it's coming sooner than later. The weather's been nice. Listening to this mixtape by this dude, Dib, El Jacko, you know, two artists that Lau put me on to, you know, just, you know, some other stuff, Infantry Wars, you know, random shit that's came out since the beginning of the year.
Yes, sir.
Nice, dope. How about yourself, Lau?
I've been good. I've just been taking care of my family, doing good at work, doing good at school. I'm approaching the end of school, so everything's been good, and I've been feeling pretty relaxed lately and shit, so that's always been good too. I have stuff going on, but you know, of course, of us trying to be as private as possible, you don't want to reveal everything. You know what I'm saying?
Of course not. You got to save something for the listeners, man.
Yeah.
Got to keep some things to yourself. I mean, same thing for me though. Nonetheless, it's good to hear that you all have been enjoying yourself since the last time we've been gone. Same here though. Kind of like the same thing. Been doing a lot of cooking, listening to a couple new artists. Central C for me, out of the UK. He actually dropped one of his songs. The first song on the track it's called Khabib. So
Habib.
How does the chorus go?
My man's been on the road. He's been on his theme. He said he's been on his theme. Something. I'm not even gonna lie to you, bro.
Something like Habib.
Yeah.
Something Habib.
He's been on his theme like Habib.
All right.
Yeah.
Song has nothing to do with Habib.
No, absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Well, he puts a skit at the end, at least, with Habib saying Alhamdulillah. But,
okay. Well, that's what's up. Shouts out to Central C, man. I might have to check his music out.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll have to check out this Dibs and El Jacko. So interesting. It sounds like it could be an interesting group. How did you find them?
Well, how did you find them?
Yo, man, I'm just saying. Sometimes I just come across some hidden gems, man. So this is how I discover other artists, right? I'm just gonna say Griselda because y'all know Griselda. There'll be like random songs or like older projects where like these random artists, and I'll hear a verse from this artist. They're not Griselda, maybe they're affiliated or just happen to be a feature. And I'm like, well, let me divulge more into this artist. And then it starts you going into a rabbit hole. You start discovering other artists. That's how I discovered Crime Apple through the Spanish Jesus song with him and Westside. And after I listened to some Crime Apple, I started discovering RLX. You know, it's just like a rabbit hole. That's how I discover guys. And these Ringwood guys, I think I discovered them through like I was going through like some beats or something like that, and I seen them, and I gave them a chance, and I started enjoying what I heard. Then I listened to more and more, and I was like, oh, these guys are kind of dope. So
That's
yeah,
cool.
shouts out to them, and that's how I'd be finding guys, even guys like from the DMV side. That's how I find them. So
Nah, that's probably the best way because you at least it's going to be within that wheelhouse or something like it, especially.
yeah.
Now, is that the way you found ASAP Rocky back in the day?
I think I found A$AP Rocky just like almost everybody else did through Peso.
Okay.
I don't know. I think A$AP Rocky, I found him because Peso blew up. That's it. Now the rest of the guys, maybe like Space Ghost Perp and Ferg and Yams, Nas, I found that through Rocky, but Rocky himself, it was because of his song Peso.
Yeah, because Peso was like when that song dropped. Because at that time, I think I was getting everything from the blogs. So like Hot New Hip Hop, Two Dope Boys. And when that joint Ill Roots, as soon as that dropped, it just grew legs across all those spots. And it was like you said, the song blew up to a point where it was impossible to not see it at that point. So like it, and definitely now when we look at where A$AP Rocky started and where he's ended at this point, or where he's at this point, I think he surprised everybody this year, especially.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, like, he's a lucky man. Shouts out to him and Rihanna, you know.
Yeah, about to drop that album.
About to drop an album, and she's about to drop that baby. And
I was talking about okay.
Well, I mean, like, just shouts out to both of them. They look real happy. It's one of the most fashionable pregnancies I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, nah, definitely. So this, without saying too much, it's pretty dope to see it, especially just in terms of your favorite artists or artists you grew up seeing coming in and seeing where they are and maturing. So I think it's pretty cool to see. So, but it's interesting though, definitely seeing an artist that's older, and now we're seeing these new artists now. Even I think, I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but it seems like in this younger generation, the new trend is like actually getting married or something to that nature. Like I'm not sure if y'all saw like sometime over the holidays, I think Durk had proposed to his girlfriend also. So like that whole marriage thing is kind of becoming like a new thing. So
oh really? So people don't want to be out in the streets anymore?
Yo, that hot girl summer stuff ain't what they thought it was, man.
I'm all for it. I'm all for guys proposing to their longtime girlfriends and stuff and being committed to them. You know, let's send a positive message to younger guys, because I felt like last year and the year before was like the rise of the incels, where they're just like disrespecting women and just trashing all over them. Yeah, that shit is not cool. So
nah. And it's weird too, like how that's like actually like a really popular thing. You know what I mean? Like dudes like really get a kick out of saying like, this chick would never make it with me and blah, 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 blah. Like they're going to be alone for the rest of their lives and miserable. You know what I mean? Not even in a way that's like constructive, just on some like kind of like I'm hating on you on a low type shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It feels like they're entitled, even though that the chicks that they're talking about would never get with them type of guy.
Exactly.
Bruh, that's the distorted part of like this whole thing, I think, with especially because I think the internet influences people into a space where they believe more of the internet than the reality of the world. Yeah. And it kind of breeds those, like you said, those type of incels. But I don't know. Hey, hopefully they can get up out of that, because it's just a bad way. It's a bad way of thinking. It's not a smart way of thinking though. Yeah. But yeah, speaking of Durk though, did you guys have a chance to check out this whole thing that's been going on between him and Youngboy in terms of like their beef?
So what exactly is going on? Could you fill me in?
Yeah, so in so many words, I mean, we all are familiar with the whole thing with Quando Rondo and King Von. Yeah. And Quando Rondo being signed to Youngboy, whatever. So this kind of all started with some Instagram post of flashing money, sending messages to each other. And I guess this beef has just kind of been brewing from ever since this whole thing with, or at least to my knowledge, or where I picked up at, it was since this whole thing with, or it's been escalated since this whole thing with since King Von's passing. So they've recently dropped two diss song to each other. Of course, Durk has been known to, when he actually does drop rap songs, he's a lot of times throwing shots at different artists. So he dropped a song called Aha, which YoungBoy just immediately responded back, I think the next day with I think the song's called I Hate YoungBoy or something like that.
Right.
Where he's kind of dissing him, but then he kind of goes off and starts dissing Bootsy, Gucci Man,
right.
Lil Baby, pretty much anybody affiliated with Lil Durk. So this is a very interesting beef, knowing just these two parties in terms of like their background.
So here's what I'll say about it, right? So I didn't listen to the Lil Durk song, but I did listen to I Hate YoungBoy and Gucci song, Publicity Stunt. What I'll say about it is this. Publicity Stunt is a decent song. I like it. Gucci rap well on that song. Shouts out to Gucci. Legend. I think he handled it in a good way. I don't think he really had to respond to YoungBoy, but I mean, he did, and he didn't really say anything too crazy. So, I mean, I guess it's not that bad. As far as the music goes, like, that's all I really have to say about it. But, I mean, anything else is like, that's beside it for me.
I'm just to piggyback off of the Publicity Stunt song. To me, I looked at it as like, yeah, Gucci responded, but he's also just keeping it in the music. I don't think it's gonna, with as far as Gucci's part of the whole random beef, I don't think he's gonna take it a step further. I think the man enjoys his freedom, enjoys his business. As you can see, he's making a lot of money. This is really a YB versus Durk thing, and the fact that Gucci put out the better diss song or the better record overall just goes to show that, you know, these autotune guys can't rap. So that's my.
Oh, you didn't care for Durk's song?
I didn't hear Durk's song. I'm just comparing to the I Hate YoungBoy and Publicity stuff. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was gonna say, to me, personally, I think, and of course you'll say it's a bias, but I do think Durk had the better song. I mean, personally, to me, I think he had a better song. I think, like I always said,
I mean, you're a fan of. No, and I'm not knocking you.
I know. I don't take any offense to it. To me, I look at it like this. Like I said, when he raps, the guy, he's really good. At long story short.
Okay.
And like I said, he puts out rap, whether you listen to him or not, he puts out rap songs. So it's like I think he put out the better song in turn. Definitely when we talking beef songs, nonetheless.
That's fair.
Only song I didn't listen to was Lil Boosie's song, where he had to make a response to YoungBoy. But I don't know. I think this is a weird situation because I don't know. I just think it's a weird situation nonetheless. But music-wise, I think the music's good. But we'll see more. We'll probably see more of what's to come, especially with festival season coming around the corner. So,
well, speaking of festivals, I'm not sure if y'all saw like the lineup for Rolling Loud. It's really good. You know, you have, I think, Future's headline one tonight. Kendrick, Kanye, Playboi Carti's gonna be there. All that stuff, like.
Every rapper, pretty much
every rapper that you can think of off the top of your head is going to be at Rolling Loud this year. So,
to me, that's where I think that's where it's going to kind of get really sticky, because this whole situation between these two rappers is kind of putting a divide, from what it seems like. Or I'm not sure if it's fans that are pushing for it or what, because I mean, of course we've heard stories before, but you can tell there's a divide now where people are having to quote unquote choose sides in this whole situation. So, and I'm not sure if you saw, but even YoungBoy and the Baby put out a joint project.
I did see that.
Where people are giving him flack about, oh, you're doing a project with them. So, which I think it shouldn't be a situation where people have to pick sides, but I think because people are trying to make it this whole, either you're on Durk's side or you're on YoungBoy's side, whether it's industry or out of industry. I think we will probably see more of this kind of grow over the summer, unfortunately.
Well, I mean,
let's whatever, man.
Well,
Hopefully it doesn't lead to more senseless violence.
no, that's fair.
All right.
No,
No,
I
I'm
mean,
just saying, like nothing about it is positive. Can you say anything positive about the situation? No, you
nah,
can't.
I'm
Yeah.
reflecting on the conversation we had off camera. That's why.
so the
No.
situation getting
Oh,
sticky
okay.
there. The situation getting sticky there, and like with Kanye West getting in a sticky situation with Kim Kardashian. Like, do you think that's gonna have any effect with like festivals or anything like that?
No.
Nah, to be honest with you, I'll believe it when this thing's true. I personally believe Kanye and Kim use their marriage as one of their weapons for media attention. Um,
Ooh,
per,
that's
and,
that's a hot talking point, Spence. That's a hot
yeah,
take.
You might
yeah,
not be
look,
wrong.
yeah, and reason I say this, and don't get me wrong, it could very well be the truth. To me, I see it like this: I don't know these people personally, so I can't form an opinion based off whatever the real details are because that's private. But based off what we see externally, based off what we see in the media, to me, as a Kanye fan, you see where I'm able to tell where he's always found a way to market something, right? We never hear about Kanye until it's time for something to come out more often than not. And right now he's been on a hot run, even when he had the whole situation with Kim before. He had the situation with Kim. And next thing you know, you're seeing like, oh, there was a whole lot of frenzy about it, long story short. When I went to the down to one thing, right? There was a whole lot of frenzy of will Kim make it? Will Kim come? Blah, blah, blah. So to me, I think to me personally, I think that's just my take. Long story short, that's my take on it. I mean, if it's true, then hopefully they can make this an amicable divorce. But I don't know.
I don't know. It's weird just seeing it all kind of play out in public. Like, if we are to believe what's going on is what's going on, then I mean, like, you can't really say Kanye West is right for anything that he's doing. And I would say that I think in the future, we're probably going to see it play out a lot more in the tell alls and whatnot, probably on the show. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think this is the end of it. It's just a lot of antics right now. And, the whole situation kind of playing out in front of our faces. So
Yeah.
to me, I think, a lot of people are kind of saying, looking at it like, well, it is what it is. And a lot of people love Kanye, so they're not going to say anything bad about him, which is fine. But I mean, like, at the same point in time, it's interesting to see that play out and see how public perception is kind of playing with it as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think the way public perception plays with this, it does have a big factor in it because at the end of the day, if this is looking at this through the eyes of this is a real thing, right? I'm not gonna lie to you, Kanye looks nuts, right? There's a lot of things in this whole situation that makes this whole thing look wild. But yeah, to me, it's just kind of crazy.
So, like, other than that, though, did y'all see the new Netflix documentary that came out, Genius? I know that pretty much everybody's been talking about it. I saw the first two parts. I didn't get to see the third.
Yeah, I haven't seen the third yet.
I didn't see a single episode, and I want to see it, and I'm not against seeing it. It's just my time this past week prevented me from seeing it. So I'm gonna make it a priority this week to watch all three episodes. But yeah, I'm eager to see it. So whatever you guys say, please don't spoil it.
Yeah. Well, I won't say much. I will say this. It's as a fan of Kanye West, this is probably like as a fan of any artist, this is kind of like the ideal type of documentary you would love to see from any of your favorite artists. I'll say that I will say, without
Okay.
giving anything away. But
Okay, fair enough.
I understand why a lot of people are saying it's inspiring, just to see like what Kanye West kind of had to go through in order to get to where he's been at with the first album, at least. Because that's what I'll say is like pretty much the majority of the first episode and most of the second episode is about. So I mean, like it's a lot, but just seeing his rise up from that moment, I thought it was pretty interesting, and just seeing as to who was around him.
yeah, it is, and I'll put it, and I'm not gonna say I won't say anything, but I've seen like just a little bit of the episode 3, and the third episode definitely looks like this. Just from the first 5 minutes I've seen, and I fell in love with the first 2 episodes, which are both an hour and a half essentially. This third episode looks like this may be the best one.
Really?
Just because of what I put like this. I played it and I was trying to get some stuff together, right? I was trying to get my breakfast together while I played it. And immediately within 5 minutes of playing it, I was like, oh, I have to dedicate just time just to watch this, because you can tell this is about those chapters of Kanye West's life, to say the least. So without saying anything, that's the best I can say it. So this is, I will say this though, I'll put it like this: just watch it, and then let's talk about it afterwards.
All right.
So
it's really good. But
another thing that's playing out in the public eye is this Slaughterhouse split. Pretty much, Joel Ortiz and who else was talking about it?
Joel Ortiz, Joe Budden, and Royce the 5'9". They all were on Instagram with each other about this.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if Crook was on if he was on the live, but I did see some clips where it was give some backstory. Slaughterhouse, which is made up of Joe Budden, Royce the 5'9", Crooked Eye, and Joel Ortiz. Royce the 5'9" and Joe Budden apparently don't want to do Slaughterhouse right now, or that's not their main priority. Joel Ortiz and Crooked Eye, they decided to make an album called the Rise and Fall of Slaughterhouse. And they're using the logo and everything like that. And that's where there's an issue in that, because each member is like, hey, we all own this. Joe and Royce are like, we didn't sign off on this. So they which it's unfortunate, because this is kind of going back to what you said before, Lau, like certain things don't need to be on the internet. And definitely when there's these three men that are over the age of 40, Joel Ortiz and Joe are kind of having words with it. Joe says something, being Joe's personality, of saying like that album could suck my, and Joel Ortiz is like, you're going to have to remember that when I see you. Like this is kind of like it's kind of weird, man, because it's not what you expect nor that you want with a group like this. But long story short, they've been arguing on the internet on if they're right or they're wrong. And it's been a really hot topic at the moment. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, just from hearing you explain it, it just sounds like it's in family fighting, and then they shouldn't, they shouldn't be on the internet with it. And they really all need to, like, hey, wherever we're at, we need to fly out to a neutral place and hash this shit out, and not online for people to make fun of them and shit, because that's what people are doing.
Exactly. Because to me, it's not one of those things. It's a difference when it's someone that's like 17, 18, they know no better. But it's like, even if that's it, long story, to me, it's like at the end of the day, even if you don't want to do something, or hey, I have a difference of opinion, like you said, just call them. It's better. A phone call is way better. This is just sad. What's your thoughts on it?
I feel like if they found this out online, then yeah, I'd be upset about that, because it's like, hey, y'all didn't give me a call like about the name or anything like that. Because like,
apparently that's how they found out about it.
Well, yeah, then I'd be mad too, because it's like, okay, like besides the fact that I don't want to make the music, I want the money from it if you're going to use my name. You know what I mean? Because it's my name. It is what it is. So it's like, I'm sure that didn't happen. That no conversation about that happened. So they have a right to be upset. I mean, now Joe Budden being who he is, he probably went scorched earth with it. I mean, probably didn't have to do that, but it is what it is. Emotions are emotions, I guess. So I mean, like,
they just need to hash it out. They all need to link up and hash it out.
Yeah, because this didn't have to happen, but it happened now, so now they got to fix it.
Yeah, but you can, that's the thing about it, where even from what it looks like, for them to go through this type of course of action via like social media, you can tell, more than likely, you can tell there has to be some break in communication, where like I put it like this: if I had a dispute with either one of y'all, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no way I could see me going on social media trying to have a conversation with you. Only, and to me, I felt like, I couldn't see me saying, "Oh, let's talk loud, Nigel. Let's get on live and talk about this." Since there's no other way of communicating. But to me, I feel like when it's parties like this, there's some overlap. Like even if you're not talking to them anymore, there's some way of communicating. There's too many mutual friends.
And I would like
to be hitting the internet, man.
I would like to say that they're like, past the point of doing this, but they've been having a continuing beef going on for a little bit now.
Yeah. Well, because that's the beef from what it seems like. Crook and Joel are like, hey, we want to rap. We want to put out an album. Y'all two don't want to put out an album at Slaughterhouse. We want to put out a Slaughterhouse album. Y'all don't want to put out a Slaughterhouse album. And I listened to like the first single, which is like on something backstage or something like that. And he even says like, yeah, you know, Joe, he's saying like, yeah, Joe didn't want to be a part of it, blah, blah, blah. So it sounds like this album, to me, from what it sounds, this album may end up being like their perspective on the rise and fall of Slaughterhouse, which I just don't think, like you said, there should have been a communication beforehand, before just at least business wise to get the business out the way. But
I don't like talking shit online, yeah. That shit really irks me. Like, if you got a problem with me and you bring that shit online, I guarantee you that shit will not, like, it's not going to be a friendly conversation after that. Like, you know what I mean? That's pretty much it.
Facts. Nah, I feel like the internet there's no need for internet games nonetheless. Like, but even, and don't get me wrong, I think in some instances, like it can help some artists, those games, they play those games, whether it's one way or another. Like, I'm not sure if you're familiar with even Conway, for instance, right? Where he's done it, where he'll put out tweets of like, oh, I'm not the best, or I'm not messing with Griselda, but we all know they're still family. And in that situation, it works. And I'm not sure if he used that this time, but for his new album, God Don't Make Mistakes, which is released through Shady Records, which is actually one of his label mates to some extent, Slaughterhouse. Yeah, he put out that album recently. Have you guys had a chance to check it out?
Yeah, so I listened to the album. I listened to it more than once, and I enjoyed the album. It's not a perfect 10 out of 10 for me, but if we really want to get into it, we can. But yeah, for simple answer, yes, I listened to the album and I enjoyed it.
Well, I mean, I liked it. I thought it was good. I think one thing that I was worried about when I heard the single for this album was I wasn't sure if the songs were going to be good, because I was like, that song's all right, but it wasn't really like that for me. You know what I mean? So I was hoping they didn't really continue in that vein. And I think that for the most part, like, especially towards the latter half of that album, I think that the album is good. I think that Conway's rapping is, you know, of course, top tier throughout the whole album. For me, I think it's a good listen. It's not necessarily my, pick for album of the year so far. I mean, it's only March, but, you know, I think it's worth a listen.
So it's funny that you say my pick for album of the year is only March. Yeah, it's too early to say what's album of the year, whatever. But far as like my favorite projects of the year, I think I would put this in there, because out of a 12-track album, there's only 2 songs I really did not care for, which was one was John Woo Flick, which was the single, and the song with T.I. I just didn't think that song was great at all. But the rest of the album, I can sit there and thoroughly enjoy it. I think what so the beat selection of this album is better than what I usually hear from Conway projects. But what I will say, I think this is the best rapping from Conway, period. He talks about a lot of life shit and a lot of stuff that he went through. It's not just about, you know, coke and other street shit. He's talking about like real life issues that he's been through and what he's dealing with. And I respect that a lot, because that shows like, hey, he can be versatile about rapping about different things and not just about how many bricks he sold or people that he know that sold bricks. And I'm not saying that's bad, because we all listen to Griselda for that, but it's a fresh breath of air when you see an artist who can really rap, has versatility in their content, and that it's not too much of the same thing, and that's what I like.
I would agree with that. I would definitely agree with that. That was kind of like my big take from this album. Just because I think when you have an artist, especially someone like Conway, where we know you have the ability to rap, I think it's that moment where you need that transparency of like, hey, where he talks about him losing one of his children, but then having another kid. Like, when I listen to that, I'm like, whoa, this isn't something that you're used to. You typically You're typically it's always like, yo, I told my man's put on your mask, not for COVID-19, but you got AIDS to bad. Like
Yeah.
you're hearing that. Nothing about his life and personal issues. So like, I mean, granted, he might say something about his son or daughter or his son. I'm not sure if I think he has a daughter as well. Well, he'll say something about his children nonetheless. So on other songs, but this time I think this was the thing that did make this album probably one of my more favorite projects by him. So
Yeah.
definitely would agree.
I think that Conway, he hits on different topics a decent bit. I think he hits on them like a decent bit more than the other Griselda rappers is what I'll say, right? So like, I'll give him a little like credit for like on other songs, like, you know, kind of getting deep into some of the subject matter. I think this album is definitely more, you know, it's definitely more in the vein of that. You know what I mean? Like he's definitely talking about that more, like on the song "Stressed" and you know whatever. Like he's really getting into like a lot of like what's going on with him. And I think it's a good listen, man. Like, you know, I think Conway is the best rapper out of Griselda.
Yeah, lyrically, he's the best.
Yeah,
I can see that. Yeah, I'll definitely give you that. I can definitely give you that one. But yeah, outside of him, outside of his project, I'm not sure if I listened to it, but I know Alchemist was a part of it. Currency dropped a collab project with Alchemist called Continuance.
Yeah.
I might have listened to it. I know I listened to some I'm not a big Currency fan. So I listened to something that was Currency and it might have been I'm not, all jokes aside, it might have been the album, but whatever I heard, it sounded good. So what did you guys think of it? I know that's your boy and stuff.
This is why I call you a hater, man, because of
what
the
you
way
mean?
the way you talk about it lends to you being a hater. That's what it is.
That's not hate though. That's honesty.
Right.
Yeah. You're being honest, but you're hating. You're being honest about your hating.
Yeah.
How's that hating? If I said, yo, I listened to something, I'm not sure if it was that, but I know I liked it. And I know he had a project. Bro,
Come on.
How's that wrong?
Yeah, okay. First of all, it's documented, right? And the reason I say it's documented because listeners, you could go back to earlier episodes of Highly Advised Podcast. You are not a Currency fan, right?
And I said that I started this off by saying
you're not a Currency fan. Not only you're not a Currency fan, you think Currency is not a good artist. So that's been documented as well. So for you to come out and be like, oh yeah, I heard a Currency song. I don't know if it's on the project or not, or not on the project. That comes off as like this guy is hating. It's best if you just be like, yo, I just didn't hear the project, because that's the real answer,
bro. But at the same time, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it was or not. I know I played something that is, and I know it wasn't something that I already had in my phone. So I know I played something of his, and that was it. It could have been the album or it couldn't have been. Yes, I've been documented saying I'm not a big fan. I don't think he's the best artist rapping wise. But at the same time, I'm saying, yo, he put out something. I heard something he put out and I liked it. It might have been from this album. It might not have been. It'd be no different if I said it was Conway, it wouldn't sound like hate. It's just because I've already said I don't care for this artist.
The song that you're probably referencing is probably not even a Currency song. It's probably some other artist.
It was Currency. It was Currency.
Do you know the name of the song?
Bro, I have no idea. I was playing. I just played something.
So you just went on Apple Music and pressed.
Yeah, I have. I've already said I have a song. I have songs in my phone that are Currency. I have Currency songs in my phone. I just don't like his catalog. I've always said that. I don't think he's the best artist. He has a couple good songs to me.
Well, go ahead.
So I was gonna say, moving on, because we could talk about Spencer's disdain for this.
The narratives, man. The narratives y'all build, man. It's
very
crazy.
Strong dislike.
Yeah,
crazy narrative, man.
So far, this is my favorite project of the year. I think this project is dope as hell. I could play it from the first song to the last song. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's 12 tracks. My favorite song on there, it's kind of a tie between the two. It's the song with Boldy James called No Yeast, and a song called, what is it, Louis Vuitton Baggage, something like that, with Babyface Ray. Those are the two songs I like the most off the project. But outside of that, I love the whole project as a whole. I already ordered the vinyl because those vinyls were selling out crazy already. So I just think this is a good solid project. I don't think it's a studio album, and that's why we keep saying project. Listeners, definitely, if you're a fan of rap music, I recommend for you to check this out. I'm not going to sit here and gas it up saying like, oh, this is lyrical, miracle, spiritual, habitual, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to sit here and say, hey, this is a good rap project, dope beats on here. You guys can ride out to this. And boom.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy Currency's music. You know, I think he is a good rapper. I think he's a great rapper. Alchemist is top tier, you know, producers. So this album to me was, you know, a good mixture of the two. My favorite songs, I would say probably, or Corvette, Rally Stripes, and the Final Board. I like that. Both parts of that song are actually nice.
Yeah.
You know, to me, I really enjoy this song. It reminds me a lot of Covert Coup. Covert Coup's one of my favorite mixtapes. And like I would say that, you know, Currency and Alchemist have had a good run. This is part of like the good run that they're actually both on right now. And I think that we're gonna look back at this run that, you know, especially Alchemist, I'll say, with his production, and like just look at it and be like, wow, he really made like a lot of dope projects, and you know, made a lot of dope music in like I'll say, what, 10 years span right now, something like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
man, he's a legend in the game already.
Of course, yeah.
Producer wise,
Yeah.
and I think this is kind of like a really strong second wave for him. And then I just think that all these projects that he's doing with these art, and they're lesser known artists too. Like some of them have bigger name values than others, of course, but like for the general scale things, they're not like mainstream superstars. Like we won't get a Kanye West Alchemist project. We won't get a Drake and Alchemist project. We might get a song produced by Alchemist on a Drake album or something, but it won't be like a straight 12 song project with Drake and Alchemist. And I like the fact that he's doing these projects with these lesser known artists, because it kind of gives some limelight to these lesser known artists, you know, and to help expose them to a bigger artist than what they're usually used to. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate this run that Alchemist is on, and the artists that's working with him, I appreciate their run too.
Now, I got a question for you real quick, Lau, before we move on. Would you say this run do you think it began with Return of the Mac with Alchemist and Prodigy? Because I think that's the first, like, I guess we call them what, designer tapes, like we like to call them on this podcast.
Yeah, like, I don't know, man, because those projects, like even the Albert Einstein album that he did with Prodigy, those are older. Those are kind of older, and I think that's kind of part of like the first wave of Alchemist. I feel like now, and you know, Alchemist, he's been tied in with Mobb Deep.
You said first wave.
Yeah, first wave.
I thought that
was second wave. Yeah, Mobb Deep is the first wave to me. I think.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Prodigy, Mobb Deep, Alchemist tied in with Mobb Deep. That's still kind of the thing. I'm talking about, you know, Alchemist doing stuff outside of Mobb Deep, doing music with artists outside of New York and stuff like that. Like that's, to me, that's like the second wave stuff.
Well, I would say that, okay, I can understand that. To me, I'd probably put Albert Einstein, because it's between that, or I mean, even maybe Bodie James, to be honest with you, because he did Bodie James.
My first chemistry side.
Which I think that came out in like what, 14 or 15 maybe. So
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, Alchemist, one thing I can say, Alchemist he never misses. He doesn't miss too often. Like this second wave has always been the second wave has definitely been a good one so far for him.
I mean, did that answer your question, Oz, or no?
It did.
Okay. Yeah, with dope projects and stuff like that, there's still things outside of music and the entertainment business that also brings in dope things, and people should be aware to. And I'm not saying this, everybody should be revolved around this, but this is a nice little footnote in a particular man's career. And that man who I'm talking about, listeners, is The Rock. So for anybody paying attention to NFL or sports period, they would know that, well, The Rock, him and a company that he works with, and plus his longtime manager or partner in business, Daniel Garcia, that basically they bought out the XFL. And they made a deal with the NFL, you know, about a couple of years later, that basically, hey, they're not going to be on. It's more like a partnership. Let me just say that much. And it's a partnership where the XFL, the NFL will try out new rule sets and stuff like that with the XFL. And if they see if it works, they're going to bring that rule set over to the NFL. So it's kind of like they're unofficially saying the XFL is like their feeder league. They're not saying they're going to be pulling athletes from the XFL, but with them saying stuff like, yeah, we're going to try out some rules and we're going to adopt their rule sets, et cetera, et cetera. I feel like that's kind of like, hey, if you could read between the lines, the XFL, they're not under us per se, but we're going to be, I don't know, using some of our resources, blah, blah, blah.
They're like their sister league.
Yeah, in a sense. Yeah, like that. That's probably a better explanation. So I think that's cool with The Rock doing that, because once again, you know, obviously the guy came from wrestling. Now he's the biggest Hollywood movie actor, and you know, now he's doing different things with businesses, and he's getting in the space of sports. He's the official the official sneaker of the UFC, if people know. So this guy, he's getting into different avenues, and this is just another thing. So it's going to be a matter of time before this guy becomes a billionaire. It's going to be crazy too.
Yeah, man.
It definitely is.
Shouts out to The Rock, man. I think that it's pretty dope that after, you know, getting ownership of the XFL, that they made it into like pretty much a sister league for the NFL. I think that's actually pretty cool. I think it works out the best way for that, because the NFL doesn't really have like a league that's like a G League or something like that. You know what I mean? Anything leading up. And I think that could be good for players who make it out of college who don't necessarily find a place. But not only that, they're trying to make a lot of alternative leagues to the NFL right now. So, of course, the NFL wants competition that will lead closer to their competition, you know, so they don't really want people taking away players from the NFL who might be, you know, decent in some way, shape, or form. So I think it's a good way to also prevent that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So I think this is a good sign of things to come, especially for someone like The Rock, as well as possibly for other players that may be trying to go into the league, or they are finding another place where they can actually expose their talents that could actually get them upgraded to the league or something to that nature. So I think there'll be more to see from this, but this is definitely a good deal though. That's what's up.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, let's just really talk about it and just get into it, since we're on the topic of sports. UFC 272, guys. I mean, the main event, the blood feud, the bitter, you know, former friends, bitter rivals, the corny tagline the UFC did. Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal. Have you guys seen this fight?
Yeah, I watched it last night. It was interesting to see, after all the shit talking, the main event finally take off. You know, it was cool to see that Colby Covington did exactly essentially what he was going to do. I think it's funny when you have two people talking a lot of shit and one of those people have to answer for all that. And I think with Jorge Masvidal losing his fight, this is kind of like the end of the era that we've kind of seen him go on, the Street Jesus era. You know what I mean? And I'm not the biggest fan of Colby Covington's shtick at all, but he can fight. I think that a lot of people got to realize that his pressure and his ground game is essentially how he won this fight. I think that he didn't do much wrong except for get dropped in the fourth. You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna say it was a perfect fight for him, but you know, I had no problem with it.
Yeah, same here. I didn't have a problem with the fight. I think, like you said, it's interesting when you get to see these two guys that have had so much to say about each other finally have this chance to see each other. And even as you saw, even in the post fight interview with Masvidal, when Joe Rogan asked him what his game plan was, he was like, to break his face. So like, clearly it didn't work, but like, you can tell that there was such bad blood that even after the fight was over with, these guys still wanted to go back and forth with each other. But nonetheless, Kobe did prove that what he said he could do, he would go out and do, put his back against the cage more often than not. Jorge Masvidal he should have just been. He wasn't. He was staying too much put and keeping his back against the cage too often, instead of trying to circle around to try to keep himself in the middle of the ring. So Masvidal, he kept getting taken down. He couldn't answer for it. He was able to keep himself. He was trying to fight his way up for the most part, but even then, after a while, it looked good, impressive. It looked pretty decent in the first round, but after that, you could tell just the grinding that Kobe was doing and putting his weight on Masvidal. He tired him out, and even when we saw him get clipped in the fourth, you could tell that Jorge, he didn't have enough gas. He didn't have enough gas to really even push it to even try to get Kobe out of there at that point. So, yeah, I mean, to me, I agree. I think this is kind of the end of that era. Maybe they may end up fighting each other when they're all super old one day, but I don't really see that. I never see that ever happening again in the UFC. Definitely after the performance last night.
I mean, to me, it is what it is. They both had 25 minutes, and one of them utilized the 25 minutes the best of their abilities. I think the era of the Street Jesus guy, I think that chapter is, I think it was closed when he got knocked out by Usman. But like now this is, hey, the book has been burned. So I for only way Masvidal to come back to relevance if he's like on a 10-fight winning streak and he's beating actual competition. He's not waiting around for the title shot anymore. Like, in my opinion, he did it to himself. I'm definitely not a big fan of Covington. Covington punished him 25 minutes. There's not a round I gave to Masvidal. Even that second round, from what I've seen, I thought Kobe did enough to win it. So, and I just don't think that they need to start fighting people. That's it. They do a lot of talking crap online and sitting out and waiting and picking and choosing the fights. Like Kobe already called out Dustin Poirier. Poirier is a lightweight. He's never fought at welterweight. Like, come on. Like, I understand you guys have whatever quote unquote beef, but that's dumb. And you need to fight a welterweight contender. You need to fight a guy that's up there that's going to give you a challenge. If we talked about this last week, I was picking Kobe to win anyway, just off of the wrestling and the pressure, and his striking's not that bad. If you watch the second Usman fight, you see the guy he got better with his striking. And I wasn't surprised when he was teeing off of Masvidal as much as he did. You know, people thinking like, oh, Jorge, if you watch the fight, you would see Kobe was giving it to him on the feet too. It wasn't just him dragging him down and drowning him. He was giving it to him on the feet too. So, and this is coming from a guy who always roots against him. But it is what it is. You got to call a spade a spade. I mean, Covington was a better fighter, and he utilized his skills a lot better. Jorge had 25 minutes and the dude did nothing, nothing but crap his jocks. So,
I mean, that's what a way to put it. I'm just joking. I mean, at that point, though, I mean, nonetheless, though, you're right, though. Like, they both had the same amount of time, and Kobe was able to show, even on the feet, you can see he was stiffing him with a jab at certain points. And even when Jorge would try to come in, you could tell he was still able to keep him at bay to the point where it's like, okay, I'm gonna press you until I can get your back against the cage, and then I'll take you down. But even on the feet, I'm still handling it. I will be honest with you. I knew Jorge Masvidal was gonna lose before the fight started, especially after going on Instagram and seeing where Drake had put a bet on Jorge, and we all know the beloved Drake curse
that did him in.
Yeah, I don't think Drake watched. I don't think he watches MMA like that. I mean, he probably watches Conor, Nate,
people that are interesting.
Yeah,
the personalities more.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think he watch, because if you watch MMA, he would know. Like, man, Covington. I just didn't see how Covington was going to lose this fight unless Jorge landed a crazy knockout.
Yeah, exactly. Like, to me, that was the only option. I mean, we already knew that Kobe was already, like, he's the better skill fighter. Even Usman even came out and said, like, yo, the thing that everybody says about Kobe is he's able to be in your face the whole fight. And we already knew that. We saw that coming. And Jorge just didn't have the gas. He wasn't going to be able to have the gas for it nonetheless. Or right. He wasn't prepared for that. So
yeah. Well, with that being said though, and before we move on, Kobe Covington, he's shown like he still has a lot of holes in his game, and because he got hit quite a bit in that fight, he got hit in some of those exchanges. I was just kind of like, ooh, man, if you just fought a guy that knew how to, wrestle really well plus strike, I don't know. That's why he can't get past Usman. So
I feel like his stand up just isn't his like strong suit. He strikes the takedown. You know what I mean? He's not really striking to be on the feet with you for a long time. If he's gonna strike with you, more than likely he's gonna be after he's worked you on the ground for a couple rounds. So like I think he knows that in order for him to like really like be a striker, he's gonna have to dedicate some time to that. But he knows he's not that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, let's face it. More often than not, when you're not the best striker, when you know you're not the best striker, his thing is, hey, I have the gas tank, and I know we all know at the end of the day, wrestling will tire somebody out. It's just the fact that you have to get yourself in position to take them down. Correct. So, but at the same time, like we said, we see it when it comes to someone like Usman, where when it comes to the champion, he's not at that level. But who knows? Kobe's still young. He may have enough. He may be able to tighten up his game. I don't think he'll be Usman anytime soon, of course. But who knows? Maybe he can find another opportunity somewhere else, but in another division or whatever, even if they open up 60, 65, but hopefully not.
A lot of people were talking about Cain Velasquez at the post press conference and throughout the night at UFC 272. Definitely shouts out to Cain.
Yeah, man.
Free Cain.
Yeah, bro. Like that. I'm not gonna lie to you. That when I saw his name trending on Twitter initially, like the day it happened, I'm like, why would Cain? I'm thinking he's probably having a comeback, and then you find out it's involving a shooting. Well, for the listeners who may not have noticed, not known, but yeah, Cain Velasquez, apparently he ended up shooting a guy. I guess it was at a someone that was at a daycare, apparently molested his daughter, I believe, or his child over 100 times, or that was like the speculation so far.
Yeah, that's the speculation so far. I've read as a daughter, I've read that it's like a
close relative,
like a nephew or something like that. Yeah, so this is the basically the guy he went after
molested someone that was close to him.
Correct. Yeah.
And he returned some shots. They found he turned himself in. I think the cops found the article I read when it first came out was like, I think the cops found the weapon and everything like that. He's charged with attempted murder at this point. I think he could be facing like 15. Yeah, life. So
yeah, that's how he could be facing life because of the state laws in California. And it's crazy because I think the person that he did shoot that got sent to the hospital was like the stepfather of the alleged target. So he went after the right person, but he didn't land the right target. Yeah. And because of that, now he's facing a lot of stuff. And it's kind of, believe it or not, there's a divide on the internet on this situation. There's some people who are so the side that I side on is like child predators in the past. Basically, they get off a lot lighter than what a lot of people would like for them to get off for. And because of that history, sometimes people are more inclined to take matters into their own hands, not because they're trying to be the executioner of these situations, but because of the fact that, hey, any man, any woman as well, if their child was sexually abused more than one occasion, a lot of those people, they're not going to just stand by and wait for a justice system that may or may not help them. It's not guaranteed the justice system is going to help them, despite whatever evidence or whatever that may be there. But so I don't fault any man trying to take care of their children or their relatives from somebody doing something such as evil, just to be simply put. I don't see the issue. I mean, yeah, it was dangerous of what he did and all that, but once you read into it, you understand why he would do that. And any more person with morals, they might have not chased somebody and shoot them, but maybe they're going to chase them and try to drag them out and beat them up. And so I don't know. Like, to me, I support him, and hopefully he doesn't have severe punishments. Definitely not serve life in prison. While this other guy who was molesting the child gets to walk the streets for free.
In a situation like this, I feel like both sides have something to say, and neither side is necessarily wrong, right? Because it's like, yeah, he did take the law into his own hands, but you have to understand as to why he did so. So I think anybody with like a heart can understand why he did what he did. Because it is against the law, I understand that he was willing to take the charge for it, and you could see it in his mugshot that he didn't look really bothered by what he did. Like, yeah, he was there, and he knew what he was trying to do. And I can't really blame him for doing what he tried to do in the situation if you read about it. Like, so I'm not going to be on here to condemn him. I can understand the other side, but all I can say is that I would hope that he would be able to not be punished so harshly.
Yeah, like, I mean, I think for me, I'm hoping that his punishment isn't extremely severe where he's spending the rest of his life in jail, especially because we all know he's going to be charged with something,
right?
Just for the fact the person he shot. Granted, he didn't get the person he wanted to get, but he did hit somebody he did shoot somebody nonetheless. So he probably will get some time.
Yeah,
but,
he has to be punished for that, unfortunately. Yeah,
and that's reasonable.
Yeah.
But it's at the same time, I understand people that, like, similar to what Nigel said, I understand people that are taking the stance of, he shouldn't have taken the law into his hands. And I understand people that say the inverse, right? And at that same moment, there's a lot of opinions people can have on this, right? Whether they're on one side of the fence or the other. But we also have to think about this. This is someone that we all know is a fighter, right? We know he's a professional fighter. You have to think, and I'm quite sure whether it's his child or if it's a family member, it's a protective nature of just being a parent or a guardian or someone of taking care of someone else or someone that's innocent. Like, I think it's just his instinct nature that if that happened, if that's how the story is going, that's probably his first thing he thought of. Hey, I'm going here first. And I'm not sure the full story if that was the case or whatnot, but I think people have to take that into consideration when they are saying, okay, this is he shouldn't have taken the law into his hand. I don't necessarily agree with someone taking the law into their hands always, but I think we do have to keep in mind that some type of news like this, you don't know how you respond until you're in that situation. And we all pray no one ever is in that situation. So this is just this is like a really
here's the thing. I think that he should have go on this killing spree and air out the whole fucking daycare. No, that's ridiculous and that's extreme. Him chasing that dude down and wanted to do whatever he was going to plan to do to the dude, I think is justified. Yeah, he's going to get arrested for it, but I think that's justified. Because if you guys had kids, or like scratch that, your nieces and nephews, both of you guys, if you found out that something happened to them, this is not well, let's see what the law does. You guys are not going to be happy customers. You're more inclined to take action within yourself. I'm not saying that you're more inclined to grab your guns. And I don't know if you guys have guns, listeners, don't. This is just a hypothetical. No, because you know how people are.
I know exactly.
Yeah. But you guys go grab your guns and ride out and start shooting up the house that they reside in. No, but if you do see that person in person, yeah, you're going to be like, this is a situation I'm going to handle without talking. So all I'm saying is just people on the internet that sit on the keyboards, of course, every 4 years, you got expert politicians. Every time there's a case, you have somebody who's studying fucking criminal justice. Every time there's some type of legal situation, you all have these keyboard experts and all that stuff. And that's not reality. Reality is us being human beings, and unfortunately, sometimes we're overtaken by our emotions. But this time, I think Cain Velasquez was justified with his emotions. You know what I mean? Right. I just don't understand how somebody could be cool with a child being molested. I don't. No. I don't think that's cool. I don't understand how somebody like will let the law is not like fucking a pizza delivery where it's going to be handled that same day. No, as if people study the shit, went to school for it, whether it's a part of your curriculum or not, you understand that shit takes time. There's due process. There's not shit that you could just do over fucking night. Sometimes people don't want a slow, long burn process. Sometimes it's like, yo, this person touched so in my family in just a very inappropriate way. I'm going to go handle it. Because if I don't go handle it, they might be able to get away scotch-free. So it's kind of like that. I'm not advocating for the death of other people or whatever like that, even though some people think that people should be dead when they do that. All I'm saying is I advocate for people protecting their family and making sure that they take care of people who are hurting or harming their family. That's all I'm saying. Like, yeah, he's going to have to get punished for shooting the other dude. That wasn't his target. But for the other guy, if the other guy got whacked in the situation, then I would be like, well, the dude brought it upon himself. He should have never been touching little girls and boys. Should have never been doing that. That's wrong. So that's just my take on it. You know what I'm saying? It's so easy when you're sitting behind a keyboard to be like, you shouldn't be, according to U.S. Justice Code, Supreme Court, like. They only do it when they want to feel cool and important to get likes on the comment board.
Yeah, like it's and I think that's where you have people that's where you'll always have a keyboard warrior, nonetheless. Like, I mean, I think hopefully my thing is this out of this whole thing, and I mean, granted, there is a lot of conversation on Cain at the moment. My main concern at this point is knowing that the person. At this point, I need at least, though they have him arrested, and hopefully he's able to, the punishment that he gets, it's light enough that it's not him spending the rest of his life in jail. But this person that is the person that's being accused, I hope the police have locked this person up or they've started some type of investigation into this at the same time, because I think
they have to.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. But reason I say that is just because of the whole conversation, because I just hope that in the conversation of Cain, it doesn't get lost. Because you know how some things where the name becomes bigger than the whole situation and it can overshadow it. So, and similar to like even some people from the MMA community have said, I think Joe Rogan's one of them, where he said he wished he would have just used his hands in this situation. Definitely knowing who Cain is, especially as a fighter. I'm not mad at that either. At the end of the day, I'm not mad at, I'll put it like this. I'm not mad at anybody's opinion on how they think he should have handled the situation. But yeah, it's hopefully Cain doesn't have to spend too much time in jail for this though.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, man. Definitely free Cain. Hope to see him out soon and, out on the streets.
Definitely so, man. Definitely. In other news, shouts out to Tom. A lot of people call him the GOAT, best quarterback of all time. I'm not going to say the best football player of all time, but I mean, he retired. He's done.
How is he not the best football player of all time?
No. I don't know if I want to say that. That's all.
But how is he not? How is he not? Like, come on.
Just because I don't want to say that.
Because look, man, Tom Brady's not my favorite athlete, but you got to give respect, bro. You got to give respect where respect is earned. He's done something that's never going to be toppled. It might not be toppled in our lifetime. It might be our children or grandchildren's lifetime.
He's easily the best quarterback of all time.
Bro, he has more rings than your team. Than any team.
Right. He has more rings than the Steelers. But
y'all have a lot. There's no slight to that.
The reason why I say that is because there's other football players who could just play multiple positions at very high levels. So to say that he's the best player of all time, I'm just not going to say that.
Well, to me, reason why I have no problem saying he's the great, and it pains me to say it because I always was against Tom at some level, right?
Right.
But I have to say it just because to me, at the end of the day, when it comes to like the greats, we start talking about championships and we start talking about what it looks like competing at the highest level of the sport that you're in. He competed at the highest level of the sport he's in, what, 10 times?
10 times, 7 and 3.
And 1-7?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We at the end of the day, we look at the resume, and then the resume is, is big. Right? Yeah, you could have athletes that could play probably a few positions on defense and a few positions on offense, but did they contribute to winning championships? No, we're not talking about the most athletic player in the game of football. We're talking about the player that has done the most in football, and that's Tom Brady. He's the greatest football player of all time. Until there's another football player that comes across and they could do anything remotely close to him, we're going to have this conversation. It is what it is.
And even then, right? The conversation is going to be the conversation where Tom Brady's dispelled it is, could he do it without Belichick? Like
he already killed that.
Exactly. Like he did it without Belichick. He did it for years with Belichick, and then said, "Yo, I'm gonna prove a point. I'm gonna get the same game, a couple new faces, and let's run this back, and I still won a championship." Like, there's nobody. I hate to say, there's nobody greater at this point. Like, until we will never. It, like Lau said, it'll probably be our children's lifetime. We see a player that dominant.
I'll say he's the best player when you say that Currency's at least a good rapper. How about that?
Wow.
I said it. Hey, bro. If that's the vendetta you want to stand on, if that's the hill you want to live on, man, go for it.
Yeah,
Jesus,
that's what I'm dying on.
Yo, I'm telling you, man, Nacho sometimes he's on a roll with these recent takes. I don't know what's going on.
Well, I don't think my take is so crazy. I said he's the best quarterback of all time.
It's because Ben retired, right?
Yeah, that's yeah. Ben can only get 2.
In other news,
it's not fair.
In other news, there's been a lot of gaming acquisitions coming from a lot of different companies. We had Microsoft acquire Activision. We had Epic Games acquire Bandcamp. Sony made a deal with Discord. All types of stuff's going on.
Yeah, I think that's kind of big, man. It kind of gives you an idea where the next space or the next steps that we're probably going to go towards. Especially, I read a little bit about Epic and Bandcamp, and from my understanding, the purpose of it is that they're going to try to use the music from use some of the technology and stuff from Bandcamp to implement it into like their metaverses. So like you can tell that the big players are kind of setting something up for the next 10 to 15 years in this digitalized world that we're leaning more into at this point.
For me, no, the only thing that I just hope that with all these big billion-dollar acquisitions, I just hope that we get good video games out of it. That's the only thing I hope for. I'm not into the whole console wars as some people. Oh, Team Xbox. I don't care. I own both of them, so I couldn't give a rat's crap. You know what I'm saying? So I just hope that there's good games. Now, it sucks because I felt like if let's say I was about 6 or 7 years younger, I'd be really more into this stuff because I would have more time on my hands to sit there and play a game for hours. But these days, maybe an hour or 2 max, or maybe one of those random nights where I'm online playing with Nigel and Gilroy. But I can't. There hasn't been a video game that has really caught my attention for me to sit there and dedicate real time to it lately. So I'm hoping all these gaming acquisitions really, brings out some good games where I'm like, oh shit, I need to hop on and actually spend my time playing this. Because, until then, to me, it's just like, oh, that's dope news, but it's kind of white noise to me.
Somebody needs to buy Konami and start making games from them again. Maybe a new Metal Gear Solid.
Maybe so.
Nice.
Yeah, maybe so. But all I'm saying is just like, I'm like I said, a guy that owns both of the new consoles or whatever like that. I barely touch my stuff.
One thing I can say is the beauty of all of this is gamers will get more games out of it. And those who love to play video games all the time will have more games to occupy their time, I guess you could say.
This is not this. What do I want to what?
No, go ahead. You're good.
Oh, and this is not a knock on like guys who game every day and 24/7 because I think video games is a good investment. It keeps you in the house and stops you from going out and doing nonsense. But I think that for me, I'm a guy. Well, like back then when I was much younger, I used to play more video games than I don't. Right now that at the age that I am, and I'm still a young guy, I'm very particular and specific on what kind of game I'm going to be playing. I'm going to be real. I'm not playing 2K garbage. I'm not playing, Call of Duty's garbage. I'm playing a game like, hey, this is something I can get invested in. And, there's an end game to this. I'm not, that's it. And I'm not opposed to online games or nothing because I play with my friends and stuff online. That's not an issue. But if it's just me by myself, I'm looking for something that I'm going to be interested and intrigued in, where I feel like my hours out of the day is being utilized versus being wasted arguing with people that's much more broke than I am and that doesn't have any futures and goals going on.
If you want
capitalism loud, man.
You want to spend some time doing something, see the new Batman movie. It came out this weekend, or I should say last weekend for the listeners listening to it right now. It's a pretty good movie. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I heard it got a good rating.
Yeah, it deserved its good rating. So on Rotten Tomatoes, I know some people, Rotten Tomatoes, whatever. Both critically and audience wise was like considered rotten fresh. Some people say it's better than The Dark Knight. Some people say it's better than Dark Knight. And some people are like, nah, it's not better than Dark Knight. I think that it's subjective. You have to watch it for yourself to see if you like it more than Dark Knight or you don't, or if you might like it around the same. Who knows? But in my opinion, do I think it's better than Dark Knight? I don't think it's better than The Dark Knight. But that's not a knock on this movie, though. I think The Dark Knight has that nostalgic, iconic factor to it, and I think that's the acting performances in that movie, the plot, et cetera, et cetera. This movie to me I thought this movie was great. I feel like this movie was kind of like, hey, if a superhero movie is going to be in the Oscars, this might be the movie that's going to be put in there. Now, my only gripe with it, and this is not a spoiler because I know Spencer, you ain't see it, and I don't want to spoil it to any of the listeners, but I think that the movie is actually a little too long. I think they could shave off half an hour. I think if you shave off half an hour, you get a more concise movie, and I think people will enjoy it a lot more. I understand why it's almost 3 hours, but that's my thing where I'm like, damn, like, we could have saved about half an hour.
I can understand that. I haven't watched the movie, but I know typically those type of movies are super long, just sometimes unnecessarily, but sometimes just to help develop the plot. So
yeah, it's kind of crazy, right? Because like, I don't know if did you see the Justice League movie on HBO Max, the director's cut? Well, that movie is literally like 4 hours or some change.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. I'll never watch that.
But that movie is actually really good.
Better than a 2-hour version. Way better.
Way better than the 2-hour version. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why, but it just craps all over the 2-hour version that was in theaters.
Hold on. So, and this is Justice League, you said?
Yeah, Justice League. Yeah. So
I'll put it down.
Years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago, I guess, when the movie first came out, they only put like the 2-hour version.
Right.
Movie sucked. A lot of people didn't like it, me included. I thought the movie garbage. Well, years later, HBO Max comes out, the new big thing. well, hey, we're gonna release the director's cut of Justice League. And by the way, it's 4 hours. So we sit here and we're watching it, and I'm like, yeah, 4 hours is long, but I'm like, oh, this is actually really good.
More
Like,
engaged, better storytelling.
Really?
Yeah. It's like they probably could have cut off like a half hour, but like everything they cut or a lot of shit that they cut was actually needed to make the movie work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It felt like a brand new movie watching it.
Yeah, man. It was crazy.
It was that different.
Yes.
Yes.
My cousin didn't like it too much. Like some people just, it's too long. 4 hours, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you have movies that are like that long, right? And this is where it leans me in, and I know we're about to close out, but it leans me into what we see essentially even for Kanye, right? Do you think in those situations it's better to have when you have movies that are full where it's a masterpiece with 4 hours, but it's crap at 2? Do you think they should just start making those type of movies limited series, or should they just try to find a way of just saying, hey, this is the movie we're putting out, and they just should they start putting out the regular movie in theaters and then releasing a director's cut, or should they be making these movies to make it a worthwhile, just make it a limited series type of thing?
I think what yeah, I guess depends is the best answer for this situation. I think they should do like how the Avengers did it, split it into 2 movies.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's the best way of doing it. You split into 2 movies, you get people hyped after the first movie, you know, get them sized and all intrigued, and then boom, the second movie to cap it all off to finish the whatever story they're trying to tell.
Yeah,
because
more money too.
That's more money too. Because when you put in a 4-hour movie in a theater, it's a hard sell.
Bro, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter how good a movie is. I'm not going to sit in a theater for 4 hours.
Exactly. Bro, it's a hard sell.
Uber got to DoorDash me or something, man.
If the benefit on putting it at home like a HBO Max is, you could treat it like a limited series. Hey, I'm just going to watch the first hour, stop, take a break, do whatever the fuck I want before going back to continue it. Yeah, but when we're talking about theaters, I think the best thing to do for long plots or story, split into 2. For the Batman movie, for it being near 3 hours, I don't think it would have worked if he split that movie to 2. No. That movie needed to be a 1 movie. I just think they could have. There's some things that could have shaved down. That's my opinion of it. That's it.
Yeah, and with it being kind of long, like especially watching it for the first time yesterday, I felt like the pacing was kind of slow in certain parts. So like for me, that kind of took away from it. But like the plot of the movie is pretty good. Like I think the acting's pretty good. The action's pretty good. Like there's not really much bad things to say about the movie, but it's just long as shit. That's all.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, I'll have to watch it. I'll probably wait until it's out, or I can stream it or something on.
Yeah.
But nah, I definitely can agree to that though. I think that does, in terms of how to address those type of movies overall, if possible, I think it does make sense to kind of split it into 2. And then, like you said, boom, you get the first one, you get me hyped, amped up, and then the second one drops. So
do we have anything else for the listeners?
I mean, make sure that they follow us.
Yeah, well, yeah. That's a key. That's a key.
Where should they follow us at?
Y'all
tell me, please?
Well, I could tell you. I'll tell you like this. If you want to check it out, go to YouTube, type in the Highly Advised Podcast. There you'll see Nigel's face telling you to subscribe. You'll see my face telling you to subscribe. You'll see Lyle's face and saying subscribe. Then you'll see Lyle's Durag telling you subscribe. So, and matter of fact, if you don't like going there, you're I don't like YouTube. It's not my thing. I'd rather just listen to whatever. All of that weird stuff, right? You can go check it out on Instagram. Go check us out on Instagram, right? At the Highly Advised Podcast. There you can see updates. You can see what we're doing, when it's dropping, whatever else we got going on. And trust me, with 2022 coming around now, we got a lot more in store for you guys. Definitely coming soon. But then outside of that, if you still are weird, go check us out on Twitter at Advise Highly, which should be easy for you all. Everybody's got a Twitter, or somebody does. If you don't, I don't know what's up with you. But if not that, I'll leave it at this, right? You could always go stream. You could always go on any streaming platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google literally anywhere you can think of, we're there. Go there, type in the Highly Advised Podcast, go and check us out, listen to us, give us a review, and let us know what you think. I mean, I literally laid it out for you guys. If you don't subscribe, I don't know what to tell you. Subscribe. That's the only thing I could tell you. And if you have something good or bad to say, leave it in the comments. Let us know what you think. You like it, dislike it, got an opinion, whatever. If you want to tell me whatever, it doesn't matter. Just subscribe, man. Subscribe. We told you the places to go to.
All right. Well,
Flocka.
Does anybody else have anything else to say?
All I gotta say is drink your Gatorade, drink your sodas.
Jesus, wow. The shit you don't want to put in your body. You know what I mean? It's like, Jesus.
Drink your soda. It's like, yo,
eat your cheeseburger.
It's like, yo, make sure you put that alarm for 3:30 in the morning and eat that slice of cake.
Yeah,
wow, that's crazy.
Make sure you eat a whole pie pizza before you go to bed.
Yeah. Yo, speaking of that, you remember what was that movie that your boy was in? It was The Rock and Mark Wahlberg.
Here we go.
No. All jokes aside, it was the workout.
Sexual intelligence. Oh no. Oh, Pain and Gain.
Pain and Gain. They said that movie is. They said the story behind that is really dark.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
It's a actually interesting movie, but I think Mark Wahlberg said he was actually have to for that movie. Just a fun fact, he was actually having to set an alarm on his clock, like on his phone, to wake up in the middle of the night to eat, just to put on weight for that movie. It was just like a fun fact that just came across me. But
I'm not surprised at that. Hugh Jackman, the guy that played Wolverine in the X-Men movies.
Yeah.
He said that, he had The Rock train him for him to gain muscle for that movie. But he said that he was basically eating how he normally wouldn't eat just to bulk up for the movie.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's crazy what these movies have these actors to be doing, man.
Yeah, man. That's dedication to the craft,
That's true.
That's a fact. Look, hey, one person you always can check into is Christian Bale.
Yep, exactly what I was thinking.
Look at his timeline. Like I think there was one movie, I forget the movie, but he had to and I don't even want to bore these. I don't want to keep going on for too much longer. The Mechanics. He had to lose so much weight, and then he had to turn around and become Batman.
It's kind of a wild movie, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that movie.
Yeah,
I remember that movie. It made me look at Craigslist totally different after that.
But with that being said, you've been highly advised, listeners. We'll be back next week. We will see you again. You've been highly advised.
You've been highly advised.
I was weird.